Okay, welcome everyone. I absolutely had to do this video because I've heard what this guy here has said a couple of times, and I do not like the verbiage that's going around that he uses and other people are using in our government and uh, in society, basically. And it's worth actually listening to the words that he's using, how he's using them, and to really think for yourself about what he's saying. So why don't we just get into it? I think I'm live. I'm not looking at anything to determine that. So let's just go with it. Okay. So let's hear what this guy has to say. Oh, he is, by the way, a congressman from Ohio. His name is Steve Stivers. So here we go.
Even the pandemic response, it's so important that we build herd immunity as soon as we.
Okay, so here's my first issue: herd immunity. I really want you to think about the word herd. Herd is talking about humanity, the populace of America, in his case here, as if we were animals. This terminology is horrible. It reminds me of the herd mentality, which unfortunately so many people in America are caught up into herd mentality, where they don't think for themselves. They're watching mainstream media news, which is totally one side, extreme to one side or extreme to the other side, and all it does is put people into duality and triggers them into craziness because they're not thinking for themselves. And here this guy is referring to us basically as a herd mentality by using this terminology. But he's right. He's right in that. If you look around to what's really going on, but to have it so blatant in your face is crazy to me, and it's something that we should be in awareness of. So let's hear what else he has to say of his craziness.
We can. While I am not for giving a $1,400 stimulus check for anything, I'd be willing to sign off on a stimulus check of $1,400 for people who take the vaccine.
Okay, so he's not for giving us $1,400 for anything. All right. He doesn't want to do it at all. But if you want to get the vaccine, sure, he's down with it. So what is he wanting to vaccinate the herd for? Why is he so down with that? But we're going to actually hear how down he is with that all the way around. Let's hear what else he has to say.
I hope the administration will look at that option, because we actually buy something with our $1,400.
So did you all catch that now? He said we actually buy something with our $1,400. What is he buying, the herd? Everything that he's talked about here refers to the people as a herd of sheeple. But no one's really paying attention to what he's really saying and how he's really saying it, and that he doesn't want to pay for anything. He doesn't think that people should get any help. And we'll talk about that in a second. Let's hear what else he's got to say here. I think he's almost done.
And that's herd immunity.
Okay, so there it is there. That was his herd immunity. So let's go look up at a couple of definitions in case you have an issue with the word herd. Now, I'm in Yahoo search. I searched the word herd, but wouldn't you know that it wants me to also try herd immunity and herd immunity definition. But let's just go with the word herd, shall we? So herd here under Webster's, a typically large group of animals of one kind kept together under human control. So he literally does, we are being referred to as a large group of animals. And I guess the human control is what, the government? Since they want to actually, give us a stimulus that pays for something. Herd is a social group of certain animals of the same species, either wild or domestic. The form of collective animal behavior associated with this is referred to as herding. I'm telling you, herd mentality is what is happening, and I'm not convinced that that COVID is everything that they say it is, and I'm not convinced that that the immunization is everything that it is, everything that they say it is. Let's just leave it at that. So let's look at the definition of immunity, which and of course, I said immunity definition search. Also try immunity definition government and immunity definition law. But let's just keep it simple. We'll go with immunity, the ability of an organism to resist a particular infection or toxin by the action of specific antibodies or sensitized white blood cells. I'm down with my own immunity. Thank you very much. So, the ability of an organism to resist. I am that organism, and my ability to resist is my immunity. Mine. We'll get into culling later. But let's go back and just talk about what this guy was saying. So, I think we've covered the whole issue with his verbiage of hurting, but now let's talk a little bit about pay. He wants to pay for something. He doesn't think that Americans need another stimulus at all. Okay, yet it is the government that had America shut down their jobs. And people lost their jobs because of that. This was by government shutdown. So he doesn't want to have to pay for, everybody who's lost work and hasn't been able to pay their bills or, fell behind on whatever, food on the table. But so, government told us to shut down. So how about the government guidelines for when somebody can return to work after testing positive for COVID? These are government guidelines. I personally, being an independent contractor who is self-employed, who was tested positive for COVID, as an in-home caregiver, I could not return to work until I received 2 negative COVID tests that were 2 weeks apart from each other. I was out of work a total of 6 weeks because of COVID, and my COVID and unfortunately my position was given away. My self-employed position. The crazy thing about that is now when my COVID symptoms were, mild cold, if that. I thought I was just having sinus issues because we had a bunch of windy days. And the only reason I got tested is because I am an in-home caregiver for a high risk woman. In fact, The agency that I work for, the owner of that agency, when I told her I wasn't feeling well, she said, well, you probably just have a cold. Why don't you go get some Theraflu and, go ahead and show up for work? I said, how about if I go get tested just to be better to be safe than sorry? Thank goodness I did. And as a result, I no longer have a job. But the lady that I work for is still healthy and fine. The lady that I care gave for. So yeah, he doesn't want to, and I'm definitely suffering financially. Unemployment is all jacked up. This guy is so out of touch with the reality of the everyday Joe, that he doesn't think that there's anything that he doesn't want to have to pay for something. He doesn't want to have to pay for anything. Not for wages lost because of COVID, and basic help for millions of Americans. Their shelter, their food, gas, medication, co-pays on their health insurance, if they still have that. Because I'll tell you what, if health insurance is going to be kind of one of those top of the list things to go, when it be between health insurance and food to pay for every month, right? I mean, he doesn't even want to help put shoes on kids' feet who over the past year have, grown in leaps and bounds. He doesn't want to have to pay for anything. He's so out of touch with the reality of what people are actually going through. Millions of Americans are actually going through. But he says, but if you want that money, then you can always get the shot. So basically, he's saying that, okay, for all you millions of Americans who, have been affected in huge, unimaginable ways financially because of this COVID pandemic, if you don't want to follow the herd mentality, then basically you have to choose between food on the table or a shot. But what if you simply don't believe in, putting yourself at risk for a vaccine that hasn't even been in circulation in the population for a year yet to know what if any side effects are going to happen? I don't know. That sounds pretty risky to me. What if, you're one of those people where it's like against your religious or spiritual beliefs, but your kids are hungry? And then let's talk about what about the? I don't know if it's just here in California or if it's nationwide. That the 300,000. That's got to be just California. I mean, there's got to be who knows. Let's just keep it simple. 500,000, 1 million people who have been infected with COVID. Okay, because realistically, I only went and got tested because I work in a field where, it was important that I know for sure whether or not I had COVID. But trust me, there's a ton of people out there who are walking around with COVID and don't even know they have it. Because honestly, I wouldn't have guessed that I had it either. It wasn't until I got more into it, that my mild symptoms kind of have turned into something more. But that's beside the point. I'm wondering if now I have a natural immunity. So why, if I have a natural immunity, do I need to necessarily go get this vaccine right away if I have a natural immunity? Why can't I wait a little bit to see like how the vaccine's doing in the world? And because I have a natural immunity, right? And I'm not going to get it again. Supposedly for, I don't know, my mom said she read some stuff like I'm good to go for like 8 months now. So I'm not going to give it to anybody. I'm not going to get it myself. I'm good to go for a while. But yeah, what about those people? Forget it if you need some financial help, Mr. Congressman, you know, you only get money if you get the vaccine. Forget it. Otherwise, you don't want to pay me for anything that you, as the government, might have, created by your mandated shutdowns and your mandated guidelines. And yeah. So kind of that's where I'm at with this crazy guy. I think, again, it's his verbiage that bothers me so much, not beyond what the craziness he talks about. So we're talking the word herd for herd immunity. We're talking about the word herd for herd mentality. And let's talk about culling the herd. Why not? Why not? So I found this to be very interesting. Let's define cull. To reduce or control the size of something such as a herd by removal, as by hunting or slaughter of especially weak or sick individuals. I don't think that it's a mistake that they are calling this herd immunity. I think that people need to open their eyes and think for themselves. They need to stop getting triggered by being addicted to paid news repeaters who are not reporters of the news. They're news repeaters. Trust and believe that. Who keep us all in division. They divide us with their extremism of reporting the news one way or the other, depending on which side you happen to stare at. Hi, Dark Truth. Thank you for being here. Hi, Out of Mind. Great to see you. Yeah, I know there's a lot of people who are, who are aware, who are thinking for themselves when it comes to choosing, having a choice about the vaccine. I just wanted to point out what this crazy guy is talking about. And the verbiage that he's using is, I don't want to say scary, but it's almost funny. So I'm going to leave it at that. Y'all take care. Please stay in your own awareness. If you are watching news and you are choosing one side or the other, then trust me, you are in a herd mentality, and you don't want to be one of the sheeple. Y'all take care now. Thanks for being here, guys. Much love.